Hello folks, in this video we will learn about constructors in Java. So constructors are a type of method that gets called when the object of a class is created. And to understand that, let me create another class over here. So I will name this class as Pokemon. And here first of all I'll declare one name. This is the Pokemon name, and also the type, and also the generation of the Pokemon. And now I will write one function. Let's name this display info, and this will simply display the Pokemon info. So let me write system.out.println, and let's write Pokemon info displayed. And after this, let's display the actual info. So I will here write name of this Pokemon is, and I will write the name, and then the same for the type and everything else. So I will simply copy these two lines and remove these two, and here we will have type, and here I'll have gen. Let's also change it here, type and gen. So now in my main function I will remove this hello world, it's not required, and here I will create an object of Pokemon. So let's name the object as EV, and here I will write new Pokemon. So this function that you are seeing over here, this is called a constructor. Now inside the Pokemon class we have not written any constructor, so this will create one non-parameterized constructor by default. We will see this soon. So now let me try to invoke this display info function from the main method. So I will simply write ev.displayInfo, and let's see what we get. So let's run this function by clicking on this triangle button, and what we are getting is Pokemon info display. So it's going inside this function, and then we are getting name of this Pokemon is null, type is null, and gen is 0. So, and that is because we don't have any value assigned to name, type and gen, and this is something we can do with a non-parameterized constructor. So what is a constructor? So constructor is a method that will have the same name as the class, and this doesn't have any parameters. So this is called non-parameterized constructor. Let's write cons, and here first of all let me simply do one system.out.println, and here what I'll write is non-parameterized constructor called cons called. That's it. And next things we will do is we will assign some values to the name, type and gen. So let's assign the name as EV, and EV is a normal type Pokemon, so I'll write normal, and then EV is from generation 1, so I'll write 1. Now if I simply run the same function again, that is ev.displayInfo, what do we get? So we are getting non-parameterized constructor called, then we are getting all of these things, and we are also getting the values. Now one thing to note here is, if I even comment out this line, we will still get this first line, non-parameterized constructor called, and when we click on run, we are getting this non-parameterized constructor called. So this line is getting invoked only in this line only. So whenever we are creating this object, it is going inside this constructor, and it is creating, it is like printing this line. So this is how constructor works. Now there are two more types of constructors. So you can consider constructors to be the methods that is actually constructing this whole object. Now this is an example of non-parameterized, but we can also pass parameters. So now let's get an example of parameterized constructors. Parameterized cons, and I will write Pokemon, and here I have to pass some parameters. So what are the parameters? The parameters are these three only. So I will pass one string of name, and then I will pass one string of type, and then I will pass one int of gen. That's it. And inside what I'll do is I will simply print out one line like this, and I will write parameterized constructor called, and after this I will simply assign in this dot name, I will assign this name. So what this dot name is, this means it is referring to this object, the current object, and here I want to assign the name that I'm passing as a parameter. And similarly for this dot type, I will assign type, and for this dot gen, I will assign my gen. So how can we call this constructor? So now if I simply run this method, what do we get? We are getting non-parameterized constructor called, because this ev over here, it is invoking this method, and this method is actually this method, which is a non-parameterized constructor. So to invoke this method, I have to create an object and then pass some parameters. So let me create another Pokemon, and let's create Latias. So here I will write new Pokemon, and here I will pass the required parameters. So the first parameter is the name, so that is my Latias, and then the type I believe is dragon type, and then the generation is, I believe, generation 3. It's from Hoenn region. So yeah, now what I'll do is now even if I invoke this method right here, I will get that parameterized constructor called, but I'm not displaying the info, so I can simply do Latias dot display info, and then I will also be getting all the info, and we are getting it that Pokemon info display, name of this Pokemon is Latias, type of this Pokemon is dragon, and generation is 3. Yeah. Now the third type of constructor that we will check is called the copy constructor, and what this does is it only makes the copy of one constructor of like basically one object. So I can simply write Pokemon, and inside I will pass one object of Pokemon, and let's name it Pokemon, PKMN, Pokemon, the short form. And what I can simply do over here is first of all I will again like do this thing to know that this constructor is getting called. So I will write copy constructor is getting called, and what I'll do over here is I will assign the info of Pokemon to the current object. So what I'll do is I will write this dot name equals to Pokemon dot name, and this dot type equals to my Pokemon dot type, and then this dot gen equals to my Pokemon dot gen. And now to invoke this copy constructor, I have to create another object. Let's name it Pokemon Latios, and here what I'll do is I will simply pass my Latias. The name will be wrong, but the other things are correct, so I can do this thing. And now if I run, you will see that in this line I'm getting that copy constructor is called, and I can also display the info. So I will write Latios dot display info, and that's it. I'm running again, and we are getting everything: non-parameterized constructor called, parameterized constructor called, copy constructor called, and all the necessary info. So this is the basic funda of constructors in Java. So that's it for this video. Thanks for watching, and bye bye.